The policies that were enacted to control the eviction crisis were unprecedented.
Over the course of a year in states across the country, an inside look at the housing crisis during the pandemic from those affected the most.
There's a patchwork of eviction policies that vary by state.
Much of a tenant's experience was completely dependent upon the zip code that they lived in.
You begin to think about what's most important to you.
I have to visit the moral obligation a lot more because the legal obligation is in black and white.
Small landlords say they simply can't afford to house people for free.
I need to see that our government cares equally about landlords as they do with tenants.
The clock is ticking for millions of Americans who've gotten behind on their rent payments during the pandemic.
These are people that had jobs that felt secure.
Now, from Frontline and Retro Report.
It's been an emotional roller coaster. I don't know how I'm going to get out of it.
Facing eviction.
Yesterday, I came home with a 24-hour notice to vacate on my door. I have a 5-year-old, so, just trying to understand how this is going to affect her, knowing the pandemic has already affected her a lot. So it's just been hard. It takes more than 24 hours to plan out your life. You begin to think about what's most important to you. Things that you can pack quickly and keep with you, just in case you're not with your things for, an extended amount of time. Right now, my things are gonna go to a storage.
And where are you sleeping tonight?
I haven't figured that out.
The coronavirus pandemic put tens of millions of Americans at risk of being evicted. To protect them, the federal government ordered billions in rent relief and a temporary ban on evictions, first through the CARES Act, later through a moratorium issued by the CDC.
In an unprecedented move, the Trump administration announced a temporary national moratorium on evictions for tens of millions of renters who've lost work.
Over the course of a year, we went to states across the country to see how the protections were being carried out.
Time is running out to keep families from being kicked out of their homes.
And how the effectiveness depended almost entirely on how local officials were enforcing it.
And some states have put a short-term hold on all evictions, but protections are hodgepodge.
There's a patchwork of eviction policies that vary by state.
Tenants scrambled to understand what their rights were, like Alexis Hatcher in Texas, a state that already had limited protections for tenants.
When the pandemic really started hitting strong in the United States and we started to see business closures and eviction moratoriums, I just started posting explainers on social media just to help people understand exactly what was out there and how it applied to them. Those posts started to be shared quite a lot, and so before I knew it, I was getting phone calls and emails and Facebook messages and tweets and everything else from people all over the county asking for advice on their particular situations.
Mark Melton, Hatcher's attorney, created a network of lawyers to help people at risk of losing their homes.
That's good. This landlord's trying to evict her by email. That's cute.
By email, huh?
Yep.
The government interventions that we've had to date have been helpful, certainly. The problem with this protection is it's not very effective because it doesn't apply automatically. It only applies if those tenants know about the law well enough to sign an official declaration that they have to give to their landlord and the court for it to apply.
Hello, is this Janie?
What's going on? I saw your message today at 1 o'clock.
Yes, I'm still behind on my rent, but the thing is my auntie was talking about some type of paper that don't charge the late fees or something.
Well, the late fees are still chargeable, but what city do you live in? These are not deadbeats. These are people that had jobs that felt secure, and then all of a sudden, the business that they work for is closing or they're furloughing people. It was taking months to get unemployment insurance to go through because there was such an overlog of applicants that the state just couldn't process them quickly enough. And so people were really in a bad situation where they had no real options. They can't force you to leave your home until a court orders them to, or orders you to leave.
Yeah, I know.
In February 2021, a federal judge in Texas cast doubt on the validity of the CDC moratorium, saying it had overstepped its authority.
The CDC's moratorium on evictions is unconstitutional. The judge ruled that while individual states have the power to put such restrictions in place, the federal government does not.
And then separately, the Texas Supreme Court began allowing evictions to move forward, which left many people like Alexis Hatcher in a precarious situation. She became one of the first in the state to be evicted. She had been a manager of a shoe store, which closed during the pandemic. She lost her income and fell behind on her rent.
Court documents for her eviction case show Hatcher filed the necessary CDC declaration, saying she faced homelessness. Still this week, a judge allowed for the eviction to move forward.
Effectively, what happened with Alexis was the CDC moratorium was still there. It didn't go away, but Texas courts decided that the CDC order no longer applied in Texas, as crazy as that is. They started allowing landlords to evict people at will.
In Texas, you have one of the first states to challenge the CDC moratorium, and successfully so.
Throughout the pandemic, Emily Benfer was tracking how states were handling evictions.
Much of a tenant's experience during the pandemic was completely dependent upon the zip code that they lived in. Whether or not you stayed in that home depended almost entirely upon whether or not your landlord was going to comply with the CDC moratorium, or a local moratorium for that matter. What sheriff showed up at your door, and what judge you appeared before.
There were some judges in Texas still willing to consider the CDC moratorium.
The County of Dallas, the state of Texas. The Honorable Judge Katina Whitfield presiding is now in session.
Good morning, everybody. Let's get started here. Sir, can you hear me? Oh, okay, great. In Texas, a federal court judge did state that the CDC moratorium is not constitutional. I have mixed feelings about it because we have the tenants that we know were affected. I see that there is going to be a lot of emotional cases that will be before me. I have to visit the moral obligation a lot more because the legal obligation is in black and white. It does not take into account the gray areas. And that's the reason why I listen to both sides, because once you do that, that gray area is going to be exposed. Susanna, is the $22.19 the current amount owed? Have you tried to, okay, first, you don't have to go into your particular circumstances of what caused you to fall behind. But if you would like to explain what happened, you can do that.
Well, what happened was, it was dealing with the COVID, then I got laid off for about 2-3 weeks. And then once I started back working, then it was just like part-time checks. And then I ended up losing my job.
A lot of the people who were truly affected by COVID, they're no better now than they were a year ago. We're talking about them losing their homes, or their kids will have to be withdrawn from school, whatever, you know. The stakes are high. So if we have that type of situation, number one, y'all need to understand it. You know, put yourself in their shoes.
Texas had started a new program that ordered judges to encourage landlords and tenants to work together to avoid evictions.
CDC issued an
Judge Whitfield spent time explaining to tenants that there were still protections available to them.
Right now, you're not considered a covered person because you haven't filled that declaration out and submitted it to your landlord. By what you testified to, sounds like this would apply to you, but you would need to read each and every bullet point very carefully and sign it because you have to qualify under each one of these, okay? You would sign it. You would submit a copy to your landlord and a copy to the court. As of today, you're not a covered person, okay? So I would have to grant them judgment, but that doesn't mean that it's too late to fill this out. We're also going to email you guys a list of resources. We have a packet of financial resources. Okay, judgment in favor of the plaintiff for 330819, possession and court costs. Best of luck to you. Go down there, make the arrangements, pay off what you can, and try to settle it, okay? All right, thank you guys so much. Y'all have a wonderful day. You too. Okay, thanks. God bless. Same to you.
In making her decisions, Judge Whitfield said she also had to balance the financial concerns of small landlords, who were often more vulnerable than corporate property owners.
Since COVID, the mom and pop, you know, this is not a business. I have one home that I'm renting out. I still have a mortgage, HOA fees, insurance, and those type of things. I always stress the financial assistance, and I'll remind the tenant that this person is still paying those things. Like, you have to remember that. Just, you know, because it's hard on you, remember that it's just as hard on them.
Landlord Sandra Stanley quickly began feeling the impact of the pandemic.
Hi, George. I'm here. I'm just checking on you to see if you need anything. How's it going? I'm good.
She and her family own 8 rental properties around the Dallas-Fort Worth area.
Thank you for the partial payments and just continue to... Local landlords have up-close and personal relationships with their tenants. We know our tenants. We know their children. We know what's going on with them, their situations. Over the course of the pandemic, when I had to work with people with their rent, we did okay paying our mortgage that we had on it, but we did have struggle with paying our taxes. Hey, Steve, this is Sandra. I was wondering, did you get to find a solution to the AC problem at all? We have to take care of the properties regardless of if we get paid or not. We had AC repairs, we had a plumbing problem. All that money has to come out of my pocket. So I went into my retirement and got the money to pay the taxes. And my brother, he had a savings. He had to go into his savings. In my lifetime of being a landlord, I've had to do at least 3 evictions, probably over 30 years. We've really tried to work with people and charge low rent so they can pay their rent. I'd rather have somebody pay their rent than have eviction. I hate doing evictions.
Throughout the pandemic, the people on the front lines of carrying out evictions in Texas were deputies from the local constable offices.
My name is Jacqueline Lundy. I work for the Dallas County Constable's Office, Precinct 5. I'm gonna put in my first address. When I'm driving out to the location, I kind of try to run some scenarios in my head. Okay, if they're not at home, fine. But if they are at home, what is my next step? What am I gonna do? How am I gonna approach it? You don't know what state of mind they're in. We're in a pandemic. People have lost their jobs, whatever home life that they have going on. Their emotions could be high. Sometimes it's you kind of are sensitive to the situation. You just kind of have to compartmentalize the sad part of it. It is sad. I think for me, I would prefer if they were not home, but it's a roll of the dice when they are at home. And if they are at home, It tugs at you if there's kids involved because it's not their fault. They're being displaced. But for the most part, it's about safety. You don't know who's behind that closed door. So it's an unknown. And an unknown is going to be a threat.
Deputy Lundy was on her way to evict a man who had been illegally occupying a vacant house for months.
Just open the door.
Need to speak with you out here.
Open the door, we're going in.
Oh, he has a lock. He locked the door.
Listen, we don't have time for all this. We gotta court order. You need to open the door.
He did not give me a read to read. I have never met that man.
Get something to open the door.
Let's discuss this outside. We need to get you out of the
Yeah,
house.
something to pull the door.
Come on. Because I don't know what you got inside the house. Open the door. Open the door.
Open it. Open it.
Open it.
Get in there. Get in there.
I ain't worried about no foul.
Get in there. Get in there.
Packing my come in and help me. I'm packing my stuff.
You need to step out.
I'm getting all my belongings.
You need to step out.
I can't get my clothes?
Step out. Let's go.
Man, don't touch me,
Step
man.
out. Step.
Taking everything out of the house. Take everything out of the house. Saca todo de la casa.
Put everything right here in the front yard. All the furniture.
You gotta say grace. Okay, say grace.
The greatest indicators of eviction are being Black, being a woman, or having children. We know that Black people are 2 times as likely to be evicted as their white counterparts after controlling for education and other factors. We know that the single greatest predictor of an eviction is the presence of a child.
The day she was evicted, Alexis Hatcher and her daughter spent the night at her grandmother's house. But she was worried about COVID and continued looking for somewhere else to stay.
Are you on the southern side of Arlington or on the northern side? Southern. Okay.
Good afternoon. How can I help you?
Hi. I was wondering if you guys have anything available for maybe a week.
For a week starting today?
Possibly, yes.
So if you come in tomorrow, I've got a king room available at $99 per night.
Oh, okay.
That's a week stay, that's Saturday through the following Saturday.
Saturday to Saturday?
Yes, ma'am.
They're so expensive. Hi, I just have a couple of questions. First, I was wondering if you guys have any thing that's available for maybe a week.
No, we don't have anything. We probably won't be able to get you until Sunday or Monday. Yes, ma'am. How can I help you?
Hi, so we were talking about the 1 week room. I couldn't remember if you said it would be available today or tomorrow.
Hold on now, please.
Just 1 adult, 1 child.
1 adult and 1 kid. Okay, I got you booked. I'll see you tomorrow.
Okay, thank you so much.
This is 375, okay?
Yes, ma'am, thank you.
I'll see you. Bye-bye. You're welcome.
Bye-bye. I know, we got that done, right? Yay! I'm glad that I have the daughter that I have because not all kids are so understanding and accepting. She feels my energies. She knew something wasn't right. She was expecting something was gonna happen. But one thing she knows is mommy's always there. Mommy's still here, so it must be okay. You know, even though she knows her stuff is not at home, even though she knows we're not going back there, she doesn't know we don't have a home. Because to her, I'm sorry, but to her, wherever I am, is her home.
More than 15,000 eviction notices have been sent out to New Jersey residents during the pandemic, even though New Jersey Governor Phil Murphy issued an eviction moratorium preventing people from being locked out.
Even in states with strong tenant protections during the pandemic, people were facing eviction. In New Jersey, in addition to the CDC moratorium, they passed their own ban on evictions for failing to pay rent. But that didn't cover everyone.
I used to work at HelloFresh, but I stopped working there because someone on my line had corona. Now I'm a temp, so in a floater. I was only back a month and a half. I found out the landlord said I was a squatter. I mean, not just sit and worry. For the simple fact, I got an 11-year-old daughter.
In December 2020, June Robinson's landlord went to court claiming that she wasn't a legal tenant because her name wasn't on the lease, and he hadn't received rent since before the pandemic, even though she said she'd paid until recently.
Ms. Robinson explained that she's behind on rent right now, like a lot of tenants are in New Jersey.
The New Jersey governor and the Supreme Court essentially said that eviction cases couldn't go forward. But the landlord filed this ejectment action, which were still allowed to be filed, claiming that June was not a tenant here.
You're essentially filing a lawsuit against someone saying they're a squatter. We've seen it happen a few times over the course of the pandemic where a landlord says, I can't file for eviction, so can we get them out with an ejectment? It's possible that this is an attempt to just get around the protections.
I spend majority of my time now sitting outside in my car trying to figure it out. Is this how I'm gonna be living? In my car?
Before she found an attorney, Robinson had an online court hearing.
See if that Zoom thing I downloaded. Yes, good morning. I'm supposed to have a Zoom court date today, and I don't have a link or anything on my phone. I never got, someone called me, like the 5th, I think, the 4th or the 5th, and said I would be getting an email so I can do the Zoom video or something. And that I never got an email. That's all was told to me. While you here on the phone, I'm gonna go. Okay, say Joanne. That's it. And could you tell me how I go about setting it up, please? Oh, don't click on it now? Okay. You are thank you so much. Because I didn't know what to do. I have a banging headache, like my head is hurting really bad.
There ain't no stress.
On the day of her hearing, she was running an errand at a grocery store and was in her car when the proceedings began.
Ms. Robinson here.
Yes.
So maybe you could, it would be not be inappropriate for you to remove your mask.
Oh.
You better?
Oh, maybe. Okay.
Oh, yeah, that's much better.
Okay.
Now, before we go any further, please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give, as well as the testimony you've previously given, will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. Now, on January the 6th, I heard testimony, I reviewed the documents, and I concluded that whoever was residing in Unit 2 was not there with permission of the property owner, and that anyone who was in that unit needed to vacate the premises immediately. So explain to me now what it is that you're asking.
How am I a squatter when the apartment was rented to me since July 2019?
Have you been paying anybody any rent?
Yes, I have, and like I said, I mean, I didn't. I was back a month and a half, and that's because I was out of work. But I started getting unemployment, and I told them that I would take and catch up on my rent.
Is your name on the
Yeah, yes it is. Yes it is, Your Honor. Yes.
Well, let's see it.
I'm in the car. I went to the store, Your Honor, to get something to eat. I didn't know that I didn't bring no leash right here in the car with me.
My client, who is the lawful and legal owner of this apartment complex, Your Honor, and now we're in a position where this person is purported to be a lessee of this residential apartment building, yet has never prepared or shown a lease agreement, has never presented that to a court.
I'm still trying to understand what is different than what occurred when I had a hearing in early January. Nothing has been presented to me today, either verbally or in the documents provided to the court to enable me to vacate the prior order of reject. So, good luck and stay safe.
Thank you.
I'm not understand. I don't understand nothing he said. Like, so where he just like this is just over. My thing is just over. Like. Hello?
Who is it? How you doing, ma'am? So you know what's going on today, right?
No.
Your brother hadn't been talking to you?
No.
Okay, we came by multiple times. I've talked to you personally multiple times.
I don't know why he keeps sending y'all out here, and this is a timid landlord situation. I don't know why he keep doing that.
Okay, so we're looking at court order right here. So you went to court, and they gave a ruling, but they didn't give you any paper before you left?
No. They did a Zoom thing, no.
Oh, you did a Zoom thing?
Yeah.
The reason why we were trying to get in contact with you, to help you along with the process, because we knew a certain date that was set, there's nothing we can do at that time. We were trying to help you to try to see if we can go back down to the court or do anything, because once our hands are tied, there's nothing we can do. And that's why we came by here multiple times, putting multiple letters on your door with the number to contact us, because the only person that you need to speak with is a judge. If the judge signs an order, that's all you have to do is go see the judge. We have no control of that. He signed the order.
I don't have that power, okay? You have to talk to a judge, someone over me that supersedes me, tells me what to do.
So
Okay.
you telling me I'm gonna get locked out of my apartment?
Well, as of
Me
right
and my
now,
11-year-old daughter?
I don't see.
If we don't do it today, we will be doing it next week. We will be doing it next week, so whatever affairs you need, have it in order by that date, because we will be coming back, we will be posting it on the door.
Okay.
So the next
I
time we come,
understand
there
that.
shouldn't be an issue, right?
You got it.
Thank you.
What's your name?
Detective Toon.
Wait, Detective who?
Toon. Toone.
Okay.
We still working with you.
Okay, no, and I appreciate that.
We're doing
But-
everything we can, but when I'm telling you, once I get another date, that is it. All right, so we're gonna call, they're not here, so we're gonna have to move forward, but like I said, we will be back
Thank
to
you.
talk to you. And I will call you, let you know if I'm in to post it and everything.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you. Thank y'all. God is a blessing.
All right, have a good day.
You too.
Housing is foundational. It's a pillar of resiliency in the same way that employment and education are. But if you knock out that one pillar, housing, where you live, your home, you can't access any of the others.
Tenants are protected during the pandemic. They don't have to pay the rent, and their landlords can't evict them.
While almost every state and many cities passed their own eviction moratoriums, California had the longest-running ban.
Small landlords say they simply can't afford to house people for free.
In Los Angeles, Diane Golden said her upstairs tenant stopped paying rent.
When the pandemic first happened in March, I was like everybody else, like, what does this mean? And as far as being a landlord, I didn't project or see anything. I didn't put anything together in terms of eviction moratorium. What is that? I mean, none of that came to mind. As a matter of fact, the first month that my tenant didn't pay, I think it was in March, and I told him, I said, you know, if I were working, I wouldn't either, because everything's just so uncertain. Next month, you know, he paid, and then he skipped again, no problem. I trusted him. I figured he'll pay me back. I didn't know if or when my tenant was gonna pay rent. So it's like having your hands tied behind your back. And someone can just take and do whatever with your life, with your livelihood. There's so many people that think that landlords are bad, that landlords are rich, they have a lot of money, that landlords should not make a profit, that it's not a business, you know, and that's why we're the scapegoats. In the end, I lost 11 months rental income. I have to eat, I have to get my medicines. Plus now, I've got legal bills because I need an attorney to know, how do you evict somebody? What would I do?
As the pandemic stretched on, tenants were falling deeper and deeper into debt.
When the schools shut down, this is when it all started for me. My son was no longer to attend in-person schooling, and that's where I was unable to work during the week because now I'm staying home and doing the homeschooling. And our restaurant went down to takeout only. Since this, it's been a journey. It's been an emotional roller coaster. Since September, I have not paid my rent. So I'm looking at eviction if I don't have 25% of my rent paid. But even if I do have that part paid, I'm still gonna owe about $7,500. So where's that gonna come from? Every couple months I get notices on my door from the apartment complex letting me know the balance of what I owe at that time. And every time that hits my door, it just brings me to another place. And I cry because just seeing that rack up is just difficult because I don't know how I'm gonna get out of it. This apartment means a lot to me. It's our safe haven. It's something that I've worked so hard to keep and provide for us. So it's just not an apartment, it's our home.
To help tenants like Teresa Trabucco, who were behind on their rent, Congress had allocated billions of dollars, one of the largest such efforts in history.
Congress passed federal rental assistance, and that ended up amounting to over $46 billion, which was the amount the landlord associations and apartment associations said they needed to make themselves whole.
The program was meant to provide rental relief payments to tenants and landlords and cover back rent, late fees, and utility costs.
In the same way that we've never had a moratorium before, we have never had the national infrastructure for rental assistance. So states were ill-equipped to actually disperse it to communities. In fact, by the end of June 2021, only $3 billion of $46.5 billion had been distributed to the landlords who needed it and to prevent the housing displacement of those millions of tenants.
See you guys. We had 3 tenants that stopped paying altogether. And it became quite a burden now because we're talking about 10 months, 11 months later now. And the tenants owe me $39,000 in change. And that's a very large sum of money that affects, everything about the building. In California, although the governor has proclaimed that there's rent relief and rental relief is coming and we've had to apply, and we've applied for the 3 tenants. But unfortunately, due to some of the administrative difficulties in complying with the application process, the money still have not come through.
I applied for several different rental assistance programs throughout Riverside County. And each program, I felt like it was just a dead end. They kept referring me to another place. And then the apartment manager submitted the paperwork for me to get started on the rental assistance program. And 2 weeks went by, no check. 3rd week, I'm like, okay, it's been 15 business days, still no check. I was like, it's one hurdle after another. I'm like, it's not gonna come through. The options I'm thinking about would be possibly to move in with my sister and rent a room from her, or my parents, move back in with them. But, at 43 years old, you shouldn't have to be going back to live with your parents or struggling to find somewhere to live, or if you're gonna live on the streets.
Alexis Hatcher had also applied for the rental assistance, but the money hadn't come through before she was evicted. Like many states, Texas had enlisted charitable groups, such as the Salvation Army, to help distribute the funds.
I first met Alexis. My supervisor called me and said that she had watched a story on the news about a young lady who had been evicted from her home, and she was a single mom with a little girl. I think I was mad and I was frustrated because I know that, evictions weren't supposed to be happening.
Yay.
And how do you explain that to your child? So her story touched me on different forefronts, being a case manager, being a mom, and just being a person. My department handles court-ordered evictions, so we pay rent. Now we're paying mortgages. We're just trying to make sure that anyone who needs the assistance is able to stay in their home. I am preventing clients from entering into a shelter or sleeping in a car or having to go and couch surf or check into a hotel. So we are trying to divert them from being at risk of homelessness.
You like this one better? Yeah. Okay, so guess what? We're gonna go buy groceries. Because guess what?
One thing that really sticks out was that she told me her daughter asked what was going on. And she told her that their house was broken and that they had to find a new house.
Nice and lovely.
She didn't want to tell her baby that they were being evicted. And so she just told her that the house is broken, we're going to find another house, and it's an adventure. And I just think the way she handled it with her daughter, I don't think children should have to worry about where they're going to sleep. Never. Or what they're going to eat.
Spaghetti? No. Why? We have to get veggies too. Do you want corn or green? Since I've been grocery shopping, it's about maybe 3 weeks. But since all of my food ended up in black bags and I had to throw away a lot of it, this is exciting. So like, even though I'm in the hotel, like the fact that I can go buy groceries, I can cook, like there's pots and pans or dishwasher, like it gives me a sense of just being normal. I don't feel like I'm not in my home. It makes me happy. It's just like, I don't feel like I'm just failing. Like, you know, I feel like I'm doing something that is normal. Here you go. Would you like to sit in a chair and have it, or would you like to sit at the desk? Okay.
Janine Smith started working with Hatcher to find her a new place to live and to get the rental assistance money.
I think with Alexis, the difference between her and a lot of clients, she is very organized. And anything that I asked her for, she had it. Miss Smith, I got records. Miss Smith, you want me to drop it off? You want me to email it to you? She was on top of it.
Hi, Erin. I was wondering if y'all had any 2 bedrooms available. Oh, do you know when you will have something?
To leave a message for the office or leasing, please press 1.
Hi, my name is Alexis Hatcher. I was looking to move into your 2-bedroom townhome, kind of immediately. Hi, I was wondering if you guys had any 2 bedrooms available.
It was important that she picked a place that she wanted to be in. Don't just get something and not want to be there. Take your time, look at it. There's a lot of resources out there, but if you don't know or have someone to tell you, then you don't get the help.
Hi, Randy. How are you? Good. I don't like to ask for help, so I struggled with that. It wasn't a good feeling. The management company, they really kept on top of everything with me, keeping me informed. I think they were rooting for me. Within, I would say, about 6 to 8 weeks, I heard back from them. On a Sunday night, I got that email. Half tired, and I'm reading it, and I just sat there and I'm like, what? Like, this is not, I'm seeing too many numbers there. It covered all of my past due rent and 3 months advanced rent. And my water and sewer and trash was paid. It just felt like a ton of bricks just came off of my shoulders, and it was like I wasn't losing my home, and Liam and I had a place to stay. So it was such a good feeling.
Of all the states, California received the most federal rental relief, more than $5 billion. Diane Golden and many other landlords ended up receiving money for the rent they missed. Across the country, the money was eventually distributed to millions of people.
It supported people at a time of extreme crisis. It made it possible for them to go back to work and prevented the poor health, the anxiety, the mental health breaks that are associated with eviction.
Emily Benfer went on to work for the White House, helping implement the rental relief plan.
The communities that were able to distribute rental assistance had lower displacement rates. They had lower filing rates in eviction courts. So all of these interventions, these measures, they're important and they matter.
Alexis Hatcher's rental assistance money came through and ended up helping her pay for a new apartment.
Today is moving day, yes. It's really exciting. Even though I'm probably going to be really exhausted by the end of the day, it'll be worth it because we're not in a hotel or at my grandma's house.
Mommy, look what I found.
What you found?
Didn't find my
bubble blower?
Yeah, it's on my Minnie Mouse one, still one.
It is?
Watch out, baby.
We've started to kind of go through all of our stuff because those black bags, they were all mixed up. I couldn't find everything. This is definitely not the way it should be done, especially the way the things are in the bag. It's just like throwing all of your things out like trash. Like, I know it's kind of funny, but I mean, it's funny now. It was not funny the day I thought about it. Get some toys for me, Leah, please. This bag is full of Christmas decorations. And a Monopoly game. I don't know. Pulling my stuff out, it's like some things have memories. So that's just like a sense of comfort in itself, is that I'm back with my things. Just a second. I'll play with you as soon as I'm done.
Okay.
To see someone with a support system versus someone without, you shouldn't be surprised that those are two totally different outcomes.
Sorry.
We've got other families that are right now living in their car with their two kids.
Are you gonna buy it? How much?
We've got other families that we've had to put in shelters that are still in shelters. These are the more typical stories when we're talking about eviction.
June Robinson was not able to provide rental receipts or a valid lease to prove she was a legal tenant and was forced to leave the apartment. In August 2021, the U.S. Supreme Court blocked the federal moratorium on evictions.
Constable's office!
Constable!
And state bans have since expired. In the coming months, the last of the government's rental relief money is expected to be paid out.
Lot 21.
21.
Go ahead and show me a clear set out. It was a good day. You know, I didn't have to encounter the tenant being there seeing the look on their face, or anger, whatever the case may have been. It's kind of heartbreaking at times to do it, but it is part of the job that I signed up to do, so much as I hate it, I have to do it.
If it was just me by myself, like no pandemic, I just got behind on my rent and my landlord decided to evict me, I don't think anyone would have thought twice about it. They probably would have kind of made assumptions like, well, whatever she was doing, that's her problem. But I'm kind of glad that it did happen in a pandemic where everyone is thinking about it and talking about it, because when this pandemic is over, evictions are not gonna stop. There's still gonna be people that are gonna need help, regardless of pandemic or not.
Kiss me and tell me I will never be alone. Kiss me and hug me
Tight.
And say I love you. I never will let you go.
Yeah.
I'm gonna stay right here so I can read it tomorrow.
For more on this and other Frontline programs, visit our website at pbs.org/frontline. Frontline's Facing Eviction is available on Amazon Prime Video.